Okay, and here we Monday, Monday, Monday. What is going on, everybody? It is K and the Diesel Freak, the most hated Ohio State thing on the planet, coming back to you live from the farmhouse here in Madison, from the farmhouse via satellite. Uh, Living out with my buddies at the moment for the next couple of weeks, just dealing with some things and whatnot, but everything in life is good. Um, this is the Monday show. I announced this earlier today that I was going live with a special guest. He will be here in less than a few minutes. Um, and I believe he should be on his way. But please do me a favor, if you like my stuff, make sure you click the like button, subscribe, and make sure you follow me on Twitter at K the Diesel Freak. You don't want to miss out if I post anything good, rambunctious, or just straight up crazy. Because there's nothing else crazier except the Diesel Freak on Twitter. So be sure to follow me on that. With that being said, the special guest will be here in a minute. So give me 1 minute. I will be right back. Alrighty, folks. So as you should know by now, that obviously, yeah, things in college football have not been going the way I would have substantially thought in the first place. But you know what? That's all right. Ohio State is a team that is going to rise up again, and they're going to compete once again, and they're going to prove to the country why Ohio State is the number one team in the country. But you know what? I'm going to be completely honest with you, folks. There's not a singular team on this planet, and I don't say this lightly or, constituently, but I say this uh, with a whole heart. Ohio State should have been national champions. We had the road, we had everything in place. Sorry, I was trying to go through my part safe, and I thought I forgot something. My notebooks. I keep a whole bunch of old stuff. But you know what? To be really particularly honest with you folks, I've had a hard time understanding why Ohio State just simply can they just with Matt Patricia keep the way that Coach Dressel and Coach Snyder have been reminding these teams that we're supposed to be the dominant team early in a game and we're not supposed to let them score by a singular digit and only allow them a field goal. Like, is that not hard to do? Keep them down by a field goal, at least blow them out in their own face. You know, that's the thing I like about Coach Dressel and Coach Snyder at Ohio State is that they reminded our team with just reminding them that when they come into our house and if we go into their house, we're supposed to be the ones that stand on top and that stand with that W. It's not them, it's us. Now, are we supposed to win games by double digits? Yes. Is it necessary? Yes. Now, I'm not going to get into that full detail. That's just for me to rant on about and how I feel about Ohio State football. The speaking of Ohio State, there is a man I could say I humbly agree with that is joining me today. He is the man, the myth, the legend, Mullen. Mullen, how are you doing? First time on the show.
It's Monday, brother. I'm just trying to get my bearings straight.
And I'm trying to get all my rage out of Ohio State and how I think Ohio State football should be played, but that's just because I was raised around old school Buckeye fans like yourself.
There you go.
And here's the thing, and this is the Monday show, so this is all hell breaks loose. Anything, and everything goes. It's not. You can curse all you want. That's the rule about Monday mornings, Monday afternoons, or Monday nights. That's the whole rule about Mondays. So I just want to make that clear, Mullen, so you at least know.
Okay, fantastic.
Ranting is also allowed. Yeah, so basically everything is allowed that other channels won't, but that's just because they're a bunch of sour pussies. But that's a whole nother conversation I'll get into for another day. But Mullen, I'm talking about just the way that Ohio State that I feel it, and I know several Buckeye fans will disagree with me, call me stupid for this. But Ohio State, like for me, their offensive and defensive staff particularly their defensive staff under Matt Patricia has done a good job. But my thing is, I want Matt Patricia to kick it up a notch or two. Make that defense let everybody know that we play. When you come into our house and you start talking shit, you're gonna get your ass kicked, big time. They don't care who you are or where you're from. We're gonna kick your ass because you talk shit. That's my thing, but I don't know about you.
Hey, listen, I'm all about the W. I'm all about the statistics, but yeah, I think you got to have a little bit of attitude in there as well. But I think Matt Patricia has done an outstanding job as defensive coordinator at Ohio State, as have the assistant coaches.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Other Ohio, I've been called out by other dumb Ohio State fans that don't understand. But this is the program that was built on dominance by Coach the great late Woody Hayes, God rest his soul. That's who preached it in the first place. That we all can agree set the tone for this program. Earl Bruce was just kicking it up a notch with John Cooper. And then Coach Tressel came along, and then, well, I think it's pretty clear what he did. Led us to 4 national championships, won 1, lost 3. But that's only because a defensive scheme didn't work out in the last minute against either a God-saved quarterback or a quarterback that got lucky with a touchdown rushing touchdown. But I won't get into those bickering moments about Florida and LSU fans. They can go fuck themselves. But I just wish Ohio State would just kick it up a notch or two, especially against Indiana. I need those that are to put them down early. Can't we just put them down early? Jeez. Oh, we got to play safe defense. No. When we play defense, we're supposed to go out there, beat the shit out of them, and leave them dead. That's the bottom line of a defense. And that's their job. Unfortunately, they make the missed call, which, in my opinion, they need to get that straightened out this spring at boot camp, which I've been keeping an eye on.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the defense does need to step up, but offensively, the offensive line play last year was obviously there were flaws, there were weaknesses. Indiana was able to exploit those. Miami was able to exploit those. I'm hoping that they can get that offensive line fixed first and foremost.
You know what? I personally agree. I'm sorry, I'm having a snack here. But my thing is, as far as our schedule, like looking at our schedule, it's like, okay, I think we can beat. I know we can beat these guys as long as we can get the bugs fixed out of, as long as our defense can play like they should. which I know they will. But like I said, I wish they could step it up a notch or two and knock somebody out. But that's just me because I like old school football and old school Buckeye football. It should be. As far as Oregon, I think we could beat them by double digits. It's just bringing the defense early. That's the one thing I've been asking. Bring the defense early because that's the way we need to set the games, especially against Oregon's offense and especially against Dylan Raiola and them. And then Indiana, same thing. We need to bring it early on defense. Texas, I mean, we're just going to go in there and smoke them again in Austin like we did. But except, run the scoreboard on. Like, what's the point of running the scoreboard up against them when you have the opportunity to? You know what I mean?
Right. I completely get what you're saying, but it's just a lot of times they want to rest these starters. They don't want Jeremiah Smith out on the field for too long. The interesting thing, I think the most interesting thing to me on offense this year is Brandon Ennis. Does Brandon Ennis actually step up? Carnell Tate's going to the draft, and he is a top 10 draft pick. I don't care what the stats say. I watched the man catch passes that were he got very soft hands, easily can catch a ball, go up and get a ball. But Brandon Ennis, I mean, he's been around the program for 3 seasons now. Does he step up and fill in? Is he the next great one from Ohio State? Does he have the breakout season like we saw with Jackson Smith and Jigma? We'll see. I mean, he ran the same slot that Jackson Smith and Jigma ran. So I'm very interested to see how Brandon Ennis does because we can't just keep zoning in on Jeremiah Smith defenses. And even when they do double team him, Jeremiah Smith has a way to usually get loose and he's got a good 50-50 chance at the ball. But yeah, they're going to zone in on him. So we've got to spread the ball around.
And, Run the ball, pass the ball to tight ends, and especially I think Brandon Ennis, in my opinion, will step up. Like Jeremiah Smith is the definition of Calvin Johnson. He can make the plays. Like, that's the one thing about Jeremiah Smith that I said. Like, that guy can catch the ball anywhere you throw it to him. Double coverage, like against Michigan and the double coverage, like the 3rd down and 6th play in double coverage. I mean, that's how good he is. Carnell Tate was basically the Randy Moss of the team. Like, throw a ball any direction to him, and he's going to catch it. And what did they do all season? Moss. That's all he did. Give him all the Moss sauce. And Randy Moss was praising him because the dude was playing legit. So I think Brandon Ennis will step up and will be like the next Jackson Smith and Jigba. I think he will. This is the time that he's going to because Carnell's not there. So I know he'll step up. I guarantee he will. And plus, I talked to some Ohio State players and last Friday night I was working out with some of them I was working out with them, and we were just talking about that. And and they were talking to Brandon over the phone with myself, and we were discussing that. So I think that really helps. That at least I get a little conversation in with them. But
yeah, and the other thing I want to bring up is Chris Henry Jr.
A deadly wide receiver freshman. Now, Mullen, I know you got a lot on your mind about Chris, but I will say this. I think Chris Henry Jr. will do some amazing wonders this season as a rookie. First starter, and he'll just ball.
He will. And I think a lot of the receivers, we lost quite a few receivers to the transfer portal this year. I think they realized coming in that Chris Henry Jr. was going to get a lot of playing time to start this season. And I watched him all through high school. Just a genetic freak. I'm Cincinnati Bengals fan, so I watched his father play. Reminds me a lot of his father. He's just got that such crisp route running, great hands, but it's just if you haven't had a chance yet and you're an Ohio State fan, look up Chris Henry Jr. highlights. And he's not playing against nobodies. He's playing against some of the best high school players in the nation. A lot of those kids are highly touted recruits that are going away to schools like Michigan and Oklahoma and Georgia. So he's not like he's beating up on boys. He's beating up on men too, but he's above level, and I am super stoked to see what he's able to do his first year in the system.
I think Chris Henry Jr. as an Ohio State receiver, I'm going to compare him to Chris Olave. He can do everything, but he's fast. Like Chris Carter, David Boston, the great David Boston. He can do everything. And I think he'll pass Chris Olave's passing touchdown record that was previously owned by David Boston, set by David Boston.
Yeah, he reminds me also a little bit of Michael Jenkins.
Michael Jenkins.
Just the hands being in the right, just getting to the right
but
spot.
Just dominant.
Yeah.
A dominant wide receiver that can go one-on-one with the coverage, and even if it's like a stirred coverage, he can still make plays.
Oh yeah, like I said, I think if Brandon Ennis comes along and you've got those three on the field, secondaries aren't going to be able to cover all three of them.
And I know Indiana's not going to be able to cover them either.
Well, we can hope. We need to get our payback against them, but I agree with you. The question is, how is Arthur Smith going to run this offense? He's been a very run-heavy coach in the NFL. He likes to run the ball. So let's see if he is actually going to be willing to air it out as much as someone like a Chip Kelly did, or if we're going to look more at the run game.
And this is something I wanted to discuss with you, Mo, and also. I feel like, you know how everybody was questioning about Matt Patricia coming into Ohio State about whether he was going to succeed as defensive coordinator? And then year one, he does what nobody thought he was going to do. I feel like with Arthur Smith, it's going to be the same case where it's like, oh, we're questioning Arthur Smith, whether he's going to fit the system. And then we have one hell of a season on offense. So I'm going to leave it at that with my opinion, but that's just because I'm pretty optionable.
No, but this is something Ryan Day has done extremely well with. And Nick Saban used to as well. The reclamation projects. He brings in coaches who have a tarnished reputation and allows them to get some reclamation of their former glory. He did it with Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly was a great example of it. He did it with Matt Patricia, and we'll see if he can pull it off with Arthur Smith.
And I think he will, personally, but that's just because I'm pretty hopeful. And, you know, Brian Hartline did the system so well, but I think Arthur Smith is going to really fit this system really well. But let's get to the other stuff that I want to get discussed. So I confirmed it with you guys and Nathan that there are 5 teams joining the SEC, and I talked to a Georgia fan of mine who I actually respect. And no, he's not on YouTube, so let me make that perfectly clear. But he confirmed to me with the SEC media that in late 27, 28, that NC State, UNC, Virginia Tech, Florida State, and Clemson are joining the ACC. And I told him, I said, you know, this is going to be one heck of a season for Georgia fans, because not only will they be playing a couple teams, former teams of the ACC, but I think they'll pretty much be owning the entire SEC, if not by all means.
Well, the problem with that, especially Virginia Tech and Virginia are kind of tied right now together. I don't know that the state legislature or the governor is going to allow that to happen, unless I've said this before, unless there's some kind of compromise where UVA gets to go to the Big Ten, Virginia Tech goes to the SEC, and at that point they would have to have a scheduling agreement to make sure that rivalry game would play every single season. Which Could happen.
I was good. Which I was going to say, Moan. I've been talking to some fans outside the Big Ten, like close to UVA, and they've been confirming with me that it's a possibility that Virginia is going to be moving to the Big Ten in the next year or so. Because the ACC, well, the only team that's actually good at the ACC, in my opinion, is Miami. Which, I mean, they own the ACC right now, besides Georgia Tech.
Well,
But
and that's the names I've heard to the sources I've spoke with is Miami, Georgia Tech, very popular among Big Ten, great markets, new markets, great brand in Miami. The city of Atlanta is huge. The amount of money that flows through Atlanta, the amount of media that flows through Atlanta. I understand Georgia is king in Georgia, but Georgia Tech, a Big Ten footprint right in the jewel of the South. We're Ohio guys. We know how that works. We captured it once before, and we're going to capture it again. And I think UVA would be a perfect fit in the Big Ten. It would be a fantastic fit in the Big Ten. Academic-wise, it is one of the premier academic institutions, just dripping in history. The Big Ten presidents would love to have a University of Virginia. I think they would love to have a Georgia Tech. I think they'd be less sold on a Miami, but I think Miami's the school that greases the skids, as it were.
well, Georgia Tech is probably going to stay in the ACC with some members from the Big East, but that's just because I think that the Big East will basically go to the ACC, and the only teams that will go to the Big Ten, as far as I know, is UVA. But that's just my 2 cents. But I could be an idiot for saying that. But you know what? And let's get on to the other subject of teams. Speaking of which, I brought this up for the last couple of weeks. I've been hearing NDSU fans yip and yap all freaking week ever since they moved to the Mountain West and that they're eligible for the college football playoffs. Yeah, I'm not worried about North Dakota State, but at the same time, I just can't stand the nuisance of their fans yipping and yapping like they're going to do something like they're going to do something. I'm like, if you're going to do something, schedule Ohio State and see how that goes. But I pretty much know it's going to be an ass kicking. You run your mouth, we're going to kick your ass. That's no question.
Yeah,
I've said it.
They have big fish in a little pond syndrome. They've been a big fish in a little pond for the last 20 years. Now they're moving to a big pond and they don't realize that there's other big fish in it.
Well, it ain't just big fish. It ain't just big fish. It's carnivores. There's sharks in the water. There's gators and there's Nile crocodiles. There's the large crocodiles in the water that'll tear you limb from limb. And there's great white sharks and megalodons in the water too, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is megalodon infested water. This is great shark. This is great white megalodon. This is Nile crocodile infested water. You ain't scraping by a Nile crocodile without getting beat up. You ain't scraping by a megalodon. You ain't getting spared by any top predator. Even on land, it's the same way. I compare it. Ohio State is a hungry carnivore that will eat you limb from limb and tear you limb from limb, and it ain't no excuse. And we've done that. North Dakota State's about to find out the hard way, getting their ass kicked.
Well, I think North Dakota State would probably have to find their way into the playoffs to get an opportunity to play Ohio State.
Yeah, but I mean, if they schedule this regular season wise at home, that's on their part of them getting their ass kicked 65 to nothing, 65 to something. Yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
Like I don't stutter when I make these kind of predictions and when I make these kind of comments. And you know what the problem is? Other Ohio State media, when I say this out loud or I post it, they're like, chill down. Like, nobody needs to get aggressive on them. I'm like, I'm allowed to because they keep running their mouths like Tennessee fans. I'm like, I don't know if they drink too much or they're moronic. I don't know. But they're just delusional.
You know, I don't have a problem with them running their mouths because at the end of the day, it's always funnier when somebody who runs their mouth gets their ass stomped in.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh.
So the same thing with Tennessee. Tennessee was going to come up here, and this was Neyland Stadium North, and et cetera, et
Uh-uh.
cetera, and
We
playing
beat their
Rocky.
ass 42-7.
Yeah. I mean, they were out there flexing with no shirts on. Okay, they got absolutely smoked.
They got stomped.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty coincidental, Moen, because Brutus is stomping the leprechaun about to death.
That's right.
Which we still own. We still own the little leprechauns, the bastards.
Yep. They have not beat Ohio State since, I believe, 1936.
1936.
Yes.
And the only reason I'm being nice to Notre Dame fans is just to think, oh, we're not going to beat their ass anymore. We're still going to own your ass, and we're going to beat your ass still. And respect to Lou Holtz, but Lou Holtz ain't here to save your ass from us.
I think Marcus Freeman's a fine coach. I actually like Marcus Freeman. I've met him a couple times. Really solid dude. But
it's just the program is lacking the guys to get actually the program up and at it.
I think the program is lacking. I don't know. It's just they have the problem that Ohio State used to have under John Cooper. I think
it's mentality.
They can't get over that hump.
The mental hump.
The mental hump. And, it speaks volumes that they didn't get in the playoffs this year and they stayed home. If you're a football team, I understand being disappointed. We didn't make the playoffs. By the way, the team that did make the playoffs, Miami, did go to the national championship. But at the same time, you get up, you put your shoes on, and you go play football. And they didn't do that.
Well, particularly, it's cleats. You got to put your cleats on, lace them up tight, and shut up.
Just go out there and play. We could have had BYU versus Notre Dame, and Notre Dame could have came out there and stomped BYU.
Or BYU could have stomped their ass out, which I wouldn't mind either.
I wouldn't have minded that, but I think Notre Dame probably would have beat BYU pretty handily. If Jeremiah Love was playing, I believe they would have beat Notre Dame or BYU pretty handily. And then you can have an argument and say, look how badly we beat this other team that was also one of the first teams out of the playoffs. How can you tell us we didn't deserve the playoffs? When you just pout and sit at home, and I'll be quite frank with you, it's pussy. It's just it's pure pussy behavior that I didn't get my way. It's like a 3-year-old. I didn't get my way, and now I'm going to pout and mope and everything else.
This is the same coincidence of a man who's basically a little boy at heart, and he basically watches Sesame Street every day and sucks on his girlfriend's tits. I mean, isn't it pretty coincidental?
It is, but I mean, this is the mentality of Notre Dame. I mean, we're talking about it. You want a tough team that can get over the hump, but at the same time, and when you hit a tough time or rough patch,
here's the thing: like when they get a loss handed to them by the convicts, which I respect the convicts from the U, because I've got friends down in Miami that I know that I go work out with sometimes if I'm down that way ever. But that's like usually in the winter, like December, January, I'm down there working out with them. I know they're not friends with Jeremiah Smith or any of them that I know. Like I've met them, but once up in Columbus. But I respect those cats more than Notre Dame because they just whine. They whine, they moan, and they have to hide in that little schoolhouse at a church, inside a church, or next to the church. And they have to mope, sob, and all the air vents are full of acid tears that are so bad. Oh my God, it's awful. Oh, I could at least say, I bet they probably go home and suck on their girlfriend's tits just after losing. I bet you on Notre Dame campus. And it's like, oh no, Father, I had done this terrible sin after we lost. Yeah, right. That's all you motherfuckers do.
Yeah, it's a mental situation, and I think you just exacerbate it when you show the world, well, we're not going to play. And this isn't just Marcus Freeman. This is going back
No.
to the Irish. Brian Kelly, national championship games where he just got smoked out. This is a team that should be winning national championships,
but they screwed up.
Yeah, they're not.
They're screwed mentally because they can't get that big dog mentality into their brains. Because after Lou Holtz left, it just was a garbage can.
Yeah, they made some really bad hires after Lou Holtz left.
Because Lou Holtz was the guy that straightened that place out. And that was the only guy that had that place straightened out in the 80s and 90s and then the early 2000s. He had that place straightened out.
You know why he had that place straightened out?
Because he was disciplined, but also he was a student of the late, great Woody Hayes.
Absolutely.
And folks, I do want to remind you that this is the Monday show, so cursing is allowed, profanity is allowed. Other channels that don't like profanity, they can go fuck themselves and go to hell. And also, this is Mullen from the College Football Mafia, an Ohio State fan that I actually respect. On the other hand, actually, I could agree with this guy on some things that other Ohio State channels don't want to say because they're a bunch of pussies. So be sure to subscribe to the College Football Mafia, Mullen Confidential, Mullen After Dark. This guy is the best and the Big Friday freaking show. I'm a big fan of this guy, so be sure to check him out and be sure to follow him on Twitter at Mullen, and then YouTube, that's College Football Mafia. Be sure to be a member, which I am, and I've been for 3 months. I had my membership renewed 3 months ago. But like I said, folks, feel free to subscribe to the College Football Mafia. Watch all the shows with Nate, Professor Ude, and of course, my main man, the Buckeye of the hour, the man who don't bullshit on anything, Mr. Mullen.
Yeah, I appreciate all the plaudits there, Caden. That is much appreciated. I'm too old for this shit. So you're not
too old for this shit, Mullen. Like, you are the perfect guy to be on YouTube in case there's any stupid other fan bases or Buckeyes need to be reminded right now of what the hell's happening. You know, this is the man for the job. Like, Mullen's the man. Like, you need to have questions or you got something to say to him, he'll come back at your ass and make sure your ass is in the ground. Like, that's how good this guy is. Like, sure, I've cursed Notre Dame and Alabama fans out, but that's only because I had the balls to. But this guy's got a good sack of balls on him. But I'll say that the only reason is just because he'll roast any other fan base. So, and the Mullen rants are always good.
Yeah, when I get on a rant, it is pretty entertaining to watch, to the point that people in my personal life will try and get me to rant on something. But I think the organic rants are a little better when something like a TV commercial hits or something and just sets me off for a minute and a half to 2 minutes.
You know what, Mullen? The funny thing is, I was ranting on YouTube here a few months ago where I called Jackson Johnson to Alabama Crimson Tide fans out for being as bad as Disney nerds and geeks. You know how they'll go off about how they want certain things and blah, 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 blah. They want this and this and this and this. I'm like, shut the hell up. Y'all are just as annoying as the next door Disney neighbor I had about a few years ago here in Columbus, because I lived out with my parents a while back. And it's like, oh my God, shut up. Nobody needs to hear your damn bullshit. Hurts my damn ears. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I mean, listen, other fan bases have delusional fans. We can have delusional fans ourselves. But, hey, we love Ohio State. I'm an Ohio State alumnus. I went to the school.
Die-hard Buckeye fan for 20 years.
Yeah, it's hard to explain to people the Ohio State fandom. The closest I've ever got, and this is still the analogy I use, it's like the Vatican Church. Your football coach is the Pope, and this is just the religion you're born into. You're baptized in it. This is what you know. This is all you know, is Ohio State football. And, we've done studies that show When Ohio State loses a game, productivity slips in the state of Ohio by almost 20% the following Monday. That is incredible that a football game, a football team, determines the productivity of an entire state.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
But
yeah, go ahead.
at the same time, at the same time, Ohio State needs to start recruiting more like the country schools. Because there are more genetic freaks that could go on that team and start knocking people out, which needs to happen. Which Coach Day, I've recommended it to him a dozen several times. I've told him personally, you need to start finding them freaks in nature that people would compare to, like NFL Hall of Famers. That other Buckeye fans call me crazy for saying this shit. But you know what? I'm not crazy. I'm just saying we need the guys that can set the tone in the game, well, let alone remind our opponents, you come into the horseshoe, you're going to get your ass kicked and your ass is going to belong to us. That's the one thing I've been praying for to God Almighty in heaven. That somebody can step up that's like Ray Lewis, James Harrison, Terrell Suggs, Vaughn Miller, J.J. Watt. I need some monsters on that team. I need like the physical, but literal, like the mental, but the physical monster that they are. Sean Taylor, Brian Dawkins, Adrian Wilson, guys who set the tone every single down and didn't give a damn. Lawrence Taylor, Derek Thomas, God rest his soul and Sean Taylor's soul. But those are like Jamarcus Ware, Chris Canny, Justin Tugg. I'm asking for these monsters to come back into this locker room. And I'm praying that we get more of them guys in that locker room because that's what we really need.
I agree 100%, and I'm going to have to jump off here in a few minutes, but I think you need to recruit the monsters on the offensive line side. I think the offensive line play over the last 3 to 4 seasons, outside of Seth McLaughlin, they did go on that playoff run where everybody kind of stepped up, but man, where are the Orlando Paces?
Yeah.
Where are the guys that are pancake blocking guys? They're
Jim Carey.
There. Yeah,
or Jim Lachey, John Hicks.
Yeah, they're Billy Campbell. When Billy Campbell was not injured.
Eric Decker.
Yeah, I mean, there were just we've lost our way on that offensive line, and I know we've got an offensive line coach. This is his second season there.
Yeah, but we need to really step the offensive line coaching up because if we don't do something, somebody's going to be laughing, and then somebody's going to have to get slapped in the face. And then you're going to wake up the mental monster that's going to kill your ass and beat your ass to a bloody damn pulp.
Yeah, I will leave you with this before I go. I think the offensive line coaching is fine. I think the recruiting fell off.
Yeah,
the recruiting fell off, and I think
can we find another offensive line coach like just out of the random and just hire him? Because apparently, if I have to, I will step on that campus and I will remind every single one of them some bitches on the offensive line. You are here at the school that represents dominance. That's been dominant. We reminded everybody in this damn nation. We are the school you don't fuck around with because you fuck around with us, you're going to find out what an ambulance in a hospital is like after 60 minutes because you're going to need a lot of protection. You're going to need a lot of titty milk and you're going to need a lot of hospital trips because I'm going to tell you, that's all we're going to do to you is put you in pain and make you reminded of where the hell you are and who you're playing up against. Yapping your mouth. You're just writing checks with your mouth that your ass can't cash. A little word of advice from a friend of mine that I spoke to. But it's like, we're going to put you in pain. We're going to put your ass down in the ground. And then when they drag your asses into an ambulance and send you out to the hospital, oh, Oh, don't be afraid to tell what's that? What the nurses to make sure that breast milk is available for recovery, so the muscle can recover from getting hit hard by some of the baddest dudes on defense that this nation feared and should fear. Like, that's just me. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, I listen. I just can't stand the idea that Wisconsin, Minnesota, and Iowa can consistently recruit these offensive line monsters, and
Because they
uh,
don't want to be dominated by Ohio State. They know
well,
that we're
right,
the dominant.
but they're a team that we're out here recruiting 3-star recruits for offensive tackles, and it's like I'm not saying you can't hit on a 3-star. You can hit on a 1-star recruit for all that matters. I'm not saying stars mean everything, but when you have to recruit 3 stars because you think you're out of the hunt on 4 and 5 stars, to me that's a problem. And I think if we don't correct that problem, Julian Sand has shown that he hears footsteps. He did in the Miami game. He heard footsteps. He gets rushed. He can't throw. The running backs had a tough time in that game as well. We've got to get this offensive line solved. Caden, I want to thank you for having me on, brother. Appreciate it. Anytime I can come on here, I would love to do so. Just let me know, and if my road work allows it, I will come on. And I want to wish you well on your streaming adventure. And if there's anything I can do to help, just reach out and let me know, brother.
Hey, man, I go live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Saturdays 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So feel free to pop on in anytime. I'm always streaming when I can. Right now, because I'm on a bit of a winter halt with the farm, and currently I'm at my grandparents living with them at the moment, down where some of the most dangerous high school football players live. Fun fact in the state. But yeah, feel free to pop on in anytime. You know, this is the show where you can come on in and tell Notre Dame fans they can go to hell and they can go fuck themselves. Like, that's all it is over here. This is where the big dogs hang out. Unfortunately, there's a lot of Ohio State channels that don't like me just because I talk the way I talk and the way I do things. But you know what? I don't give a damn. I told them they can go screw off, fuck themselves. And well, I'm going to be out here ranting if no one hears me. And if anybody hears me, well, that's at least something.
All right. Well, I'm going to leave you with this. Go Buckeyes. Fuck the Irish.
Hey, and you know what? They can go drink all the titty milk they want because we're out here feasting like we should. We're feasting on the big dog meals. No
That's
discounts. Right. Just feasting on pure meat. No bread, no water, just meat.
And fuck Michigan too.
Oh, you already know, sir. You already know. My man Moen. Again, follow Moen on the College Football Mafia. His show is always amazing. Moen Confidential, Moen After Dark. Moen Rant on YouTube. This guy does it all. And I appreciate you, sir, as always. And you know how to start off and end off the show right, sir. And again, subscribe to the College Football Mafia. You know where this guy's at. And we're on that. And hopefully we can do more things with I can do more stuff with you guys. And I wanted to ask you about something.
Sure.
What do you think about another Moen Confidential or Moen After Dark, or the After Dark show with myself included?
Yeah, we might do that. We're actually probably going to expand programming here a little bit. We're trying to focus on growth. So there might be some opportunities there. I would love to have you, but we'll talk that out. We'll figure that out.
Hey, Moen, it is always great to hear from you, and it's always great to talk to a Buckeye fan who feels the same way I do. It's old school and just won't hold back on anything and anyone by any means necessary, which that's the way that Buckeye fans should be. They shouldn't hold back on anything. Now, I will say that's why I respect Moen more than any other Buckeye fan and anybody on YouTube that's a diehard Ohio State fan. This guy knows what I mean. And this guy understands why the house that Harley built is the big dog house. And when you talk shit, you're just writing yourself a death sentence into the horseshoe, baby.
Absolutely. I'll leave you with this. I think Kirk Herbstreit dubbed us best. We are members of the Lunatic Fringe. We are the Lunatic Fringe of Buckeye Nation, and we're proud of it.
We're damn proud of it because we kicked everybody's ass, and they're afraid of getting their asses kicked by us because we're not the team that you want to fuck around with. Because you fuck around with us, you end up in a hospital with a bunch of porn stars for nurses. And we'll say, nah, 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 nah. Oh, hell yeah. Goodbye. And go fuck yourselves.
All right, buddy. I will catch you on the flip-flop.
Hey, Moen, I got a little something for you.
Okay.
Go Bucks. Irish suck tit, and Wolverine suck tit.
We'll give you a little applause for that
one. Later, sir.
Later on.
That is my man, Moen. Ladies and gentlemen, please go check him out. And as always, go Bucks. Irish suck. And that team up north, Michigan, yeah, y'all suck tit and dick. Later. And go Bucks.